Hi, everybody. It's Darla Reborn, and we're still talking about marriage. All right. But this time we're talking about the single aspect of it. And when I thought to do this, I kind of researched the idea on YouTube to see if there were other subject matters quite similar, and I didn't see any. I recently heard, and I've seen videos and a meme on Facebook of the idea that until you are married, you are single. Did I say that right? Yeah, like if you're not married, you're single. Okay? But I've been married now for it'll be 9 years this year, and I'm still single. And I wanted to talk about this idea because I think, first of all, what does that really mean? I think that when the statement, if you're not married, you're single, is almost like a race to the ring. You know what I'm saying? Until you have that ring, until you have that contract, you're single. But I'm still single. And so I just kind of want to talk about that a little bit. And what are our ideas of what it means to be married? I think that particularly as a woman, and I think this statement is often directed to women, I think there's this idea that when we get married, we're rescued from our singleness, that something is wrong with singleness. What does singleness mean? And what does it mean to be married? You know, it's almost as if when you're married, you no longer have to face life as an individual, that you have a teammate, and that means you don't have to go it alone. I don't think that's what singleness means or what it means to be married. I don't. Let's just talk about this. Here we go. What exactly does singleness mean to you? To me, I'll just share what I think about the energy I get around singleness from people. That it's some kind of curse, that it's half baked, that being single means nobody really wants you, that you're alone, that somehow aloneness is negative, and that your life is not as fulfilled. There's this idea that not having a lifetime partner who's committed to you means that there's something missing out of your life, that you're not fulfilled. Okay? And I found that when this attitude is something that's promoted in singleness, it doesn't go away when you're married. I know when I got married, I sought that idea, and that this is the impression and the idea that I had, that being married, and I can't necessarily say that I got that from my mom or that I got that from my dad, but I think in general in society, when you grow up hearing the happily ever after stories and um, you complete me, and wonderful things about a relationship, you see that as preferable to being single. You see that your singleness is a temporary state, and you come to view singleness as something, as marriage is something you want to graduate to. Okay, so this is the idea that I think is promoted by the statement that until you're married, you are single. But once again, I found that being married, I still am. And let's just talk about this idea, because when you're born, you're single. You come into the world by yourself. You're a single person. There's nothing wrong with it. It's expected. It's normal. There's nothing wrong at all with the state of being. When you have your goals, your dreams, your aspirations, they're yours. They're not a co-written. They are yours, and they never cease to be yours. Your goals, your purpose, your gifts, there's something that you need to fulfill, and I personally view my goals, my life, my mission as an obligation that I have to the universe, to my soul, that needs to be fulfilled. And it's my responsibility. And I think that particularly as a woman, when you get married, you take on the family role. And you kind of, I know that I did. I'm not going to put it on anyone else. But there was this idea that now I have arrived to this status and I'm no longer needing to concern myself with single matters. I'm over that. I've graduated beyond that point and beyond that place. And I'm finding that I'm still there, that I still am single. I'm still just Darla. I have somebody who loves me and cares about me, and I love him and care about him, but we still continue to have our responsibilities to our souls, our responsibility to the world, and the reason why we were created never ceases. And in fact, we're together to assist each other in fulfilling that purpose. And if you are not married and you're single, I hope that you don't find your experience to be missing something because you're not in a relationship or you're not yet married, and that it's a race to the ring and a race down the aisle, because you'll find that if you do, you will still be in search of something missing because your spouse cannot provide that missing thing for you. My husband cannot provide that for me. I cannot provide that for him. We are our own rescues and salvation, and we are our own key to fulfillment and happiness. We need each other, but unless and until you have that as an individual, you're not going to find it in a relationship. It's going to be something that you still find is a missing piece deep down inside of you. So like when you're born, you're single. We don't look at children and see them as half-baked. We see them as being in a state that's normal. And it seems like, particularly as a woman, when you're in a relationship, you run into a lot of how we define ourselves becomes our status, our relationship status. It becomes a definitive factor in our lives. Whether or not we are taken, whether or not we are had, whether or not your title is Miss or Mrs. means a lot to women. And oftentimes this idea and this energy has been projected onto us, so that if you've not yet arrived to this status and your singleness is seen as some kind of curse, it's seen as wrong and half-baked. And the women who have that, they feel, because they've arrived to this status that everyone says is preferable, they feel as if they're advantaged in some way. And what I've come to see is that I'm not. That finding fulfillment is so much easier when you're single. Status-wise, I'm still single, but now I'm single with a responsibility and an obligation to someone else, which makes it difficult. It makes it more difficult. Because now, not only do I have a responsibility to my soul, I have a responsibility to someone else. And there are expectations that are thrust onto me because of the titles. And then if I have children, and of course you can be single with children, but when you add all those layers, it's even harder for you to get to you and for you to prioritize you. And when you're single, there's something that, status-wise, there's something that you don't have to concern yourself with. And I think I was talking with a friend about the whole idea of losing yourself in a relationship. So easy to do that. You are racing to provide, and you're racing to survive and to maintain, and to sometimes make it when you're not functioning on good terms. So it's just like, it's a struggle sometimes. And I think that you still have to get back to you. When you lay your head at night, it's you. It's you in your thoughts. And it's going to be you who is unfulfilled or satisfied with decisions that you've made. It's going to be you at the end of the day who is feeling good or regretful about opportunities you missed out on, and people and experiences you could have had. It's going to be you by yourself in your last moments in this world. We die by ourselves. We die single. We're born single and we die single. So, and even when we're in relationships, you know, whether they're boyfriend and girlfriend, fiance, married, you know, married with children, there's still that single individual who needs a sense of fulfillment and wholeness. And that does not come from outside of yourself. We're not taught that. I wasn't taught this principle that comes from me, never anyone else. You know, in fact, I've often heard of the God first, others second, and me last theory. And there's some people who think of that as noble and think of that as ideal and preferable and good, and that is unselfish. But when it comes to your fulfillment and your standing in your place, it's the other way. It's you. Because you are who you're with at all times. You're in your body, you're in your space, your health, your mental stability, your emotional balance. All of that is something that you have to maintain. It's nobody else's responsibility. When that goes awry, nobody else can help you but you. Find that sense of wholeness, and a relationship can be a distraction to that. And I think it's so important to remember that that is a constant. It's a constant. So if you don't have that single, you're not likely to ever get it married. And it requires time and effort. And I feel like I'm in a place now where I'm having to kind of pull away and think on my own about what I want and about what I need. Because if I'm looking to him for that, I'm going to put too much pressure on him. He's got to manage himself, his needs and his goals. We have to carry our own weight. And that includes emotional. Have you ever been around someone who makes you responsible for their happiness and their well-being, and their mood is riding on you? That's too much. That's too much. So at the end of the day, at the beginning of the day, it's just you. Everyone else is a piece to the puzzle of your life, but it's you. You are the common denominator, and that does not change whether or not you have made a contract with somebody else for life. It doesn't change. I'm still single. I'm still an individual trying to find my way in this life through each transition and through each period of growth and through each pain and each tear and each loss. Everything that we experience in life, the hills and the valleys, we have to navigate ourselves. So I hope that this addition to the conversation on marriage, singleness, is something that contributes to the overall picture. So if you found this and you stuck it out, I appreciate you listening. Like and share, and subscribe to my channel. I've got a lot more, a whole lot more. All right. So take care.